Welcome party people to our special episode. Matt here, and today's topic is the creepiest time of the year, The date of Halloween, 31st of October, marks the line between fall and winter, life and death, making party and the walk of shame. But moreover, it is the time for superstition. It is also a time for candies, costumes, the sexy ones. Oh man, look at her. Huh? But also the scary ones. And last but not least, the pumpkin. Oh, come on, not that one. Ah, man, these guys really scare the shit out of me. But I was talking about this kind of pumpkin. Anyway, these are the typical things which we connect with Halloween. But what else do we know about this day? Why do we celebrate Halloween? And why do we dress up in costumes that are kind of shit? If you want to know, keep watching. ClueTube has it covered for you. Alright folks, let's start at the beginning. Halloween goes back to the ancient Celtic festival, Samhain, or pronounced Samhain. Who were the Celts? Well, these badasses over here. The Celts were an ancient tribe who lived 2,000 years ago in the areas that we know as Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France. They also really liked to go for long distant walks, a fact that other cultures like the Romans and ancient Greeks did not like so much. But this is another story. Just saying, you could find these guys creeping around in some other areas as well in later years. Let's get back to our story. The Celts celebrated their new year on the 1st of November. Not just by accident, no man. That date marked the end of the summer and the harvest. It was also the beginning of the winter, which meant cold and dark days. That again went hand in hand with death, because we are talking about the survival of the fittest kind of shit here. The Celts, as superstitious as they were, believed that on the night before the new year, the boundaries between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. That is why they celebrated Samhain on October 31st, believing that the ghosts of the dead come back to Earth at that night. I mean, that was considered to be a sure thing. During the celebrations, the Celts wore costumes consisting of animal heads, skins, and some other nasty shit. These guys knew how to party. You have to give them that. Later, around 43 AD, the Roman Empire kicked some Celtic asses and took over most of their territory and ruled it for 400 years. During that time, the Celtic festival Samhain was combined with two Roman festivals. The first was Feralia, where the Romans remembered the dead, and the second was a day to honor Pomona, the Roman god of fruits and trees. The symbol of Pomona was an apple, and it is probably the explanation for the tradition of bobbing apples, which is still practiced on Halloween today. Yeah kids, now you know why you get healthy apples instead of candies. Say thank you to Pomona. Later, on May 13th, 609 AD to be exact, Pope Boniface IV established the Catholic feast of All Martyrs' Day in the Western Church. Pope Gregory III later expanded the festival to include All Saints as well and moved the date of celebration from May 13th to November 1st. By the 19th century, the Celtic islands and their rites were highly influenced by Christianity, and the church declared November 2nd as the day to honor the dead, calling it the All Souls' Day. Similar to Samhain, the day was celebrated by dressing up in costumes, but as saints, angels, or devils. Sounds lame? What do you expect when the church takes over and runs the party? Anyway, the intention of the church was probably to substitute the Celtic festival with a related but church-sanctioned holiday. Sneaky bastards. The All Saints' Day celebration was also called All Hallows, or Hallowmas, which came from the Middle English meaning All Saints' Day. That is why the night before the traditional night of Samhain began to be called All Hallows' Eve, and finally, Halloween. Now you already got a lot of input, but all that took place in Europe. Why then is it so famous and spread widely in America? The celebration of Halloween was indeed extremely limited in colonial New England, but still much more common in Maryland and the southern colonies. An American version of Halloween began to emerge where neighbors would share the stories of the dead, dance and sing together. When America was flooded with new immigrants in the second half of the 19th century, the celebration of Halloween and the tradition to dress up in costumes got popularized, especially by the millions of Irish immigrants. And that is why Halloween became one of the most celebrated festivals in the USA, my friends. Now you know, and you are ready to get liquored up. Sponsored by ClueTube. No. I mean, don't drink alcohol. Be careful out there and catch some healthy apples. That is sponsored by ClueTube. Forget the shit before and sign up for this channel.